That's fine. Alright, let's see. AI content Squadron 42. Towards the end of the year, the AI content team completed a significant number of tasks for Chapter 15. This included prototyping animation for crowds and combatants alongside developing several usables and animation sets for dejected characters around the level. Sad sad crew members. Sad crew members. Let's see. I want to check something real quick. Arrives tomorrow. Dude, I can't wait. Problem is, I have no idea if it's going to work. I have no idea if my GPU is at all going to work. That's fun. That's super amounts of fun. Alright. So I might have to like do more upgrading before I can actually use my GPU. Because I might need a power supply and a motherboard. Super fun. Let's see. The welding engineer also received a lot of improvements. The team made an extensive pass the animation and progressed with the technical challenges of getting the welding helmet, multi-tool part, and welding effects working together. Considerable work was also done to get a basic version of AI characters interacting with a variety of usables found in living spaces. The bridge crew behavior and animations also received further iteration, are now starting to look polished. So they're like done, pretty much done with bridge crew behavior. Animations supported AI feature with box carrying, which resulted in a significant visual improvement. A large amount of production and organization work was done too, resulting in a comprehensive animation schedule that details all known work required for SQ42 to be content complete. As part of this, the team will now implement usables and behaviors into the final game levels earlier in the pipeline. Oh my god. That. Oh. Jared burned down when? Oh, man. Oh, I cannot wait for this. AI features Persistent Universe, or StarCitizen. AI features ended the year supporting investigations and fixing bugs in Alpha 318. What they did on the other side, AI features Squadron 42. Last year, the team implemented AI functionality into manned turrets, like other objects that NPCs needed to be able to use. The turrets have been set up as usable, which describes the logic and animation required to use them. As with the player, animation are synchronized with the turret movement, so that the AI grips the turret by its handles, while rotating on the spot to aim horizontally and tilt the turret up and down to aim vertically. The team also worked on implementing a wide range of panic, cover, and surrender behaviors for both unarmed civilians and enemy NPCs that have run out of ammunition and weapons. If an unarmed civilian sees that an enemy has an unholstered weapon, they will notify characters nearby using wild lines, and then panic run to a hidden point of cover. They will continue to run away from the enemy if their cover is compromised. Unarmed characters that hear this information will turn to react to the enemy and panic themselves. By randomizing the speed at which NPCs react, the devs can generate natural-looking range of behaviors from crowd responding to a threat. Oh, man. I cannot wait to see this in Star Citizen. This, coupled with better dynamic population. Let's see, where is it? This one? Yeah, that one. There we go. Roadmap. Did they make the text shine? Oh. No, they didn't. Silver rolls. Pop. Mutation. It's barely done. Anyway, when they put this in, and with this kind of behavior system, really cool. Armed enemies now have run out of ammo and weapon. Armed enemies that have run out of ammo and weapons will run for cover while searching for valid ammo and weapons to pick up. Again, if their cover is exposed, they will reevaluate and run to a new position. If the player aims at an armed or unarmed NPC, they will stay on the spot but turn to face the player and move through sequence of surrender animations whilst communicating with the player. As part of combat, the team worked on the medic AI behavior to allow NPCs to find incapacitated peers that need reviving and use med pens to get them back into the fight. This involved bringing together numerous existing functionalities from various areas, including the usable system, use channel to revive, consumable items, the med pen, synchronized animation between the two NPCs, ragdoll into animation to allow characters to stand up from a ragdoll, the subsumption to script the behavior. The next stage is integrating this behavior with the standard react to presumed dead bodies behavior to generate more complex behaviors. Holy cow. Man, I love reading the Squadron stuff. Especially like this late in development. It is just so fun to see. AI feature also started work on new non-human characters. This involved creating a new core set of animations for the new creatures, and slotting it into the existing basic framework. From there, they will be able to rapidly develop the core functionality, which was passed to the design team for feedback. Cool. So animals going into Squadron first, and then we'll see them. I'm thinking end of next year, maybe. End of 2024, maybe we get animals. Towards the end of the year, a few areas of work were revisited to tidy up loose ends. The first of these was Vandal investigation behavior. During the cat and mouse gameplay section, the Vandal will now investigate the floor vents in the room with different animations for different levels of alertness, or different alertness levels. After feedback from design team, new functionalities were added for the accuracy calculation. This included adding a mercy timer, firing time, and time since scene accuracy modifier. The mercy timer gives the player a fighting chance to escape from heavy fire by making the AI inaccurate for a set period when the player's health has reached a certain threshold. That is cool to hear. That's actually probably going to be in a lot of future FPS, what are they called? People talk about video game design videos. I forgot what they're called. Anyway, so like Uncharted does this by making sure the first couple bullets that is fired at you don't ever hit you. There's I think, was it Doom or something that makes it you take less damage the closer to death you are or something. I forget which one, but there's a ton of these sort of things where the game will cheat for you. The firing time accuracy modifier reduces the accuracy over firing periods for a similar purpose. Time since scene accuracy modifier allows the player to a grace period after moving out of cover, during which the attacker's accuracy will be lowered. The accuracy distance calculation was also changed to be curve-based for greater control. I hope that is put into the persistent universe as soon as possible. Apparently there's a, not bug, but because this isn't in, if you peek around a cover and you're seen, you're instantly shot. So, but basically the general rule of thumb is you don't want to, the player shouldn't not know why he's dead. He should always know. So if you peek around a corner and you're not able to perceive the enemy and you die, that's a problem. That's a design problem. AI tech in Persistent Universe for Star Citizen. During the last months of 2022, the AI tech team progressed through with features required both for Persistent Universe and Squadron 42. Except they didn't have a section for it. Okay. The team continued to iterate on more complex investigation links to extend the capabilities of NPCs and where they are able to move to, or navigation links. I said investigation links. Navigation links, including implementing adapters for airlocks and elevators. Now NPCs will know that in order to traverse an airlock, they will need to interact with multiple consoles to adjust the pressure and open the door. For elevators, navigation links were created to connect multiple floors. The navigation link was created to request a reconnection with the navigation mesh triangles. Each time the elevator stops at a floor to allow NPCs to transition in and out. Based on navigation link connections, an NPC will now know how to request an elevator to go to a specific floor. New event notifications were also added or sent by the elevator when it arrives at a floor, so that the actor will know to get on or off. There we go. Cool. NPCs and elevators. At the end of the year, the base functionality of the NPCs driving ground vehicles was completed. NPCs now move to a vehicle to get into the driver's seat, find a path suitable for the size of the vehicle, and drive it along it. This work involved the creation of new subsumption tasks, a new movement request type, and updating the movement planner to know how to process the request. The team also added new functionality to the navigation system that makes entities to be ignored during navigation mesh generation. So we finally get to like actually have something close to the when this is implemented, something close to the 2016 demo, I think it was. Star Citizen 2016 gameplay. Yep, the 2016 Gamescom demo. This part right here.
Go to player 4, Jared.
So technically these were all players.
Okay, back to player.
Also this one. I don't know if you're gonna talk. Oh my gosh, ads. Really? I really need to switch over the YouTube Premium for this. Alright. And then right at the end, again at the end, this was like supposedly NPCs, right? So now they can actually start doing that. Alright. NPC perception was another major topic worked on towards the end of the year. The team implemented a new adapter for action areas to specify lightness/darkness, which will influence the NPC's visual perception. Very cool. New extender to propagate engine sound as stimuli was also created, which will make NPCs aware of vehicles in proximity. This was the first step towards behavior that reacts to ground vehicles and spaceships. That would be nice, because if you ever like gone to the Reclaimer mission or any of the outposts now in the game that have NPCs at them, and you just like fly in and they just don't do anything, hopefully now they will like seek cover when a ship comes in, and then because you can just take them out from the ship, so hopefully they will seek cover if you're in the ship, or like take good actions depending on what you're showing up in. While working on perception improvements, the devs fixed AI visual perception through glass. Now NPCs will be able to detect targets behind glass and also understand that in order to shoot at them, they need to move to the other side. This will actually help the sort of problem they had in the Pyro gameplay demo. Where he actually saw one of the people on the inside, and I don't know if he was in combat at that moment, or if they would have known that he was hostile, but they can now shoot, or not shoot through glass. Yes, not shoot through glass. For locomotion, improvements continued on the sharp turn asset, and now they are triggered for alien characters at walking speed, or or at walking speed. Related to this, work began on the follow tech, which will be used in connection with the buddy AI behavior. For this, the team improves soft stops, collision avoidance with players, and speed handling based on the leader's change in speed. For Apollo's subsumption tool, okay, I guess I don't know what that is. New functionality was added to create and modify the subsumption master graph. A lot of feedback from designers was implemented, including the addition of an interface to create roles and sub-roles, find reference functionality, improve interaction with functionalities, and the multigraph tab, and improvements to grid snapping. Animation at the end of 2022 saw facial animation supported various trailers and other needs. They also shot motion capture for some background characters animation that will be used in the persistent universe. Alright, we're at 2 hours and a half. So that is about the middle point of the stream. So we are going to take our actual long break. And I get to go eat. And I'll probably also do some research on my computer to see if I can actually use my power supply. I'll be back in about 10 to 15 minutes. So enjoy the music. And I'll be back shortly. Hello, Exos. How's it going? Alright. I can't wait till tomorrow. Oh, I think we might... Why did that not show up there? How much else have I missed? Access, if you're still here, hi. I think we might get a capital ship before Pyro's done. Depends on your definition of capital ship. No, I don't think so, actually. Because we would get whatever Polaris Galaxy... Galaxy's technically not a capital ship. Whether we're getting Galaxy or Polaris at the end of the year, it will be 4.0. I don't think we're getting anything before that. Right, we're at the point now where we're on 4.0's doorstep, Pyro's doorstep. So there's no... Like... It's just not a thing. It's just not going to be a thing. I think we're just too close to Pyro being out. Yeah, I really wonder why that's only there. Weird. Very strange indeed. Alright. So, let's get back into... Where were we? We had just finished up that. It's Animation Squadron 42. Last month of 2022 saw gameplay animation working on Vanduul executions, zero-G player movement, and various animations for background life. They also added skill level variation to takedowns alongside new weapons. They then shot mocap for a variety of additional scenes and gameplay needs for creating facial animations for various story and background characters. Nice. Art character for starcitizen. At the end of 2022, character art finished tasks for Frontier workwear, outfits, and Frontier undersuits. They also fixed various bugs related to clipping, character art, or character concept art, polished concept handoff for the Frontier outfits, and continued with concept exploration on fauna and duster faction. Fauna. I mean, I know it's concept, but they've been doing a lot of fauna work last year. And they should have at least the Squadron side of it done by the end of this year. Super excite. AI art characters, Squadron 42. The concept art worked on tattoo and armor variation concepts for the Screaming Gelsons to help fill out the faction, and continued work on key campaign characters. The artists also worked on Screaming Gelson's armor along with the Navy pilot flight suit, a new creature. Again, more fauna. Let's see. Tech Art skinned the main Navy jumpsuit and paired assets for the flight deck crew, or for the deck crew, engineer, and gunners. AI art, art environments, Squadron 42. Environment art approach content complete on several chapters. Ooh. Including chapter 7 and 11. Ooh. Ooh. That's a very that's some words there. I think it's weird. Several chapter locations, including chapters. That's some words there. Let's see. Art ships, Star Citizen. In the US, the ship team made finishing touches on the Drake Corsair. Once complete, they moved into white box stages on 2 of the new vehicles. For one, they brainstormed several options for entering and exiting. So, it's got an interior. Or, nah, not necessarily. Could, okay. White box began on a new production vehicle, too. The UK team completed their pass on the salvage feature, ensuring all major visual and gameplay issues were resolved for ship exteriors. They also began work on the Crusader Spirit, which progresses through the white box phase. The biggest challenge has been ensuring that the escape raft for the VIP variant is fully functional at this early state, so we can avoid extra work in the future. Ship team. The bulk of white box work was also completed on an unannounced vehicle, and the development began on an all-new small ship. Interesting. We got this very nice piece of art. I don't know what planet that is just by looking at it. I feel like it's Microtech, but I don't know. Let's see. Community. The community team started in November with the Cargo Refactor AMA, which included details of the new soft death mechanic. They then supported the Intergalactic Aerospace Expo IAE 2952, including publishing the Best in Show prizes, and an in-depth IAE Traveler's Guide for the free fly schedule, updates to the new Player's Guide, and a dedicated IAE 2952 FAQ. They also launched the Drake-themed screenshot contest, where players faced a unique challenge each day of the expo. Following their reveal at IAE, the team curated and published Q&A posts for the Drake Cutter and Envelgate R Pisces and the RSI Galaxy. In the approach of the holiday, community released the Luminaria calendar and the Luminaria 252 referral bonus. They also supported the Luminaria screenshot contest, Luminaria holiday card contest, and the holiday mayhem at Jumptown. In support of some of the Alpha 318's lesser publicized features, the community team published 3 patch watch posts detailing balance keys, continued lawlessness, and the latest iteration of Jumptown. The team also spent time working on a few web-based programs, the further improvement coming to the guide system, community hub, and Spectrum. That's funny. Engine. Oh boy, the engine. Oh boy. Okay, it's almost 11 o'clock. I just now finished coughing, so. Oh boy. This is gonna be interesting. I got no pings in this. How dare they? How dare they? I want to read through all those, though. And no pings for me. Alright. What do we got here? The engine team. Or the engine itself. The engine itself. Anyway. November and December were busy months for the physics team. Aside from plenty of bug fixes and supporting Alpha 318, they worked on various optimizations. For example, the cost of performing part OBB versus grid cell overlap checks was amortized by performing them in one cell for a grid node instead of cell by cell. Okay, now we gotta go look all that up. Nope, not that one. We're gonna go that one. No, where's the one we were just using? Hello? Thank you. OBB, is there a file? There we go. Given a model, we pre-calculate or pre-compute a hybrid hierarchy representation consisting of uniform grids and trees, a tight-fitting oriented box, bounding box over trees. What does? Oh boy, math. We present a framework for fast and accurate collision detection for haptic interaction with polygon models. Given a model, we pre-compute a hybrid hierarchy representation consisting of uniform grids and trees, of tightly fitting oriented boxes, or tightly oriented bounding box trees, OBB trees. That's oriented bounding box. At runtime. And use hybrid hierarchical representation and export frame T. Okay, so oriented bounding box is our first part. And then grid cell overlapping. Grid cell node. Consciousness? What? What? Oh boy. Yeah, that's medicine. That's not helpful to us. Alright. So it has something to do with grids overlapping, obviously. For example, the cost of performing part OB object or oriented bounding box versus grid cell overlap checks was armorized. I don't know what that means either. Amortize. Very gradually write off the initial cost of an asset over a period. Okay. By performing them in one cell for grid node instead of cell by cell. Also substepping for attached and AI control NPCs on the server was disabled to bring back actor entity step performance. Several internal data structures were compacted and reordered for smaller memory footprint and better member alignment. Wow. That is almost completely over my head. Super fun. Alright. On the renderer, much easier to comprehend, the team enabled the Gen 12 pipeline and scene rendering by default. This will be featured in Alpha 3.18, which is a major milestone on the road towards completing the Gen 12 transition, providing a Vulkan backend. Following October's work on particles, further substantial progress was made. Gen 12 refraction and half-resolution rendering support for GPU particles was added. The particle stage and GPU handler refactored, and the particle GPU handler refactor, the particle shader background completion was enabled. Furthermore, particle split for each hierarchy level are now updated in a way that ensures UAV resources stay consistent across each pass and don't change. Moreover, debugging visualization code for various systems was ported to Gen 12, and PSO caching for projectiles and particles was improved. Regarding atmosphere and volumetric clouds, an initial draft of a new temporal renderer node was submitted and will continue to be worked on in the coming months to provide better rendering performance of ray marching, volumetric clouds, and atmospheres. Furthermore, various options for refined cloud shaping were brainstormed with TechArt and will hopefully find their way into a release soon. Nice. More clouds. More better clouds. More better clouds. Not more clouds, please. On the core engine, the team completed work on V2 of A4K data file support for the engine, game, and tool side. On that note, the system now also provides an efficient lock mechanism for legacy pack files, as well as much faster access to files inside pack files, enabling the main P4K data file, embedded in the P4K data file, both of which significantly improve loading of object containers. Additionally, the mapping of threads on the Intel CPUs with P/E cores was written. Critical threads such as main and render and network thread are ensured to always run on performance cores to avoid the other poor performance on affected CPUs. There we go. These changes are currently being verified on the PTU. Cool. Also, support for page size larger than 4 kilobyte, aka huge pages, was added to the engine. At the moment, at the moment on Linux only. Interesting. These changes are currently being verified on the PTU. Nope. It is currently used for stack, text, and data segments, as well as physics allocation. Using a huge page reduces the pressure on the TLB cache, the part of the CPU translating virtual to physical addresses, which would help with performance. With Clang, just moving the text segments to huge pages gave us 7% speed up. Furthermore, the latest version of Blink 2 was integrated, and a few audio-related bugs fixed in the video playback, manifesting themselves as random clicks during playback. Interesting. Another area that progressed well was the remote shader compile server used to build shader cache, etc. Due to the increased usage of the server by development teams and the build process. Prior support for fallback agents was as well as server throttling was implemented to deal with times of extreme load and to allow for more distributed compilation. At this point, it also made sense to rewrite various parts of the code to allow for more robustness, better logging, and increased performance. Lastly, shape unification was completed in the entity area support was added. A copy-paste bug in the entity aggregate manager that caused a lot of unnecessary memory access was fixed, and viz area loading was refactored for both support branch conversion from previous versions of serialized viz area data. The remaining time was spent supporting the Alpha 3.18. Cool. Alright, features Arena Commander. This one's an important one. The majority of the team's end-of-year focus was on making file improvements for Alpha 3.18. Work continued on a classic race refactor, including taking the Snake Pit, Euterpe Icebreaker, and Miner's Lament course to playtest state. This allowed features to collect feedback from areas to several other teams. A refactor of the race manager and checkpoint system then began, with the aim to create more robust future-proof system that can be used by the PU teams to create races around the verse. Design also began developing additional variants of the holographic checkpoint and directional arrows for each track, which will vary in style to best suit the setting. Finally, Finally, for racing, work was complete on the old Vanderveld Recold Memorial Raceway and the Delford Link racetrack. Improvements were made to the new front end, including a new window for game mode selection, an updated style, and restoration of single player using the rewritten lobby system that also supports multiplayer. This allowed other teams to use the new front end Arena Commander feature stream for greater feedback. Where's the single player? Or is that just single player, or is that because you can do Arena Commander single player. Anyway. Investigations then began into adding turrets to the Jericho Station and Dying Star maps to assist or hinder players in Van Duel and Pirate Swarm gameplay modes. Okay. Work was also done to speed up the ease and process of taking locations from the persistent universe and have them featured in maps in Arena Commander, which is currently being used for several upcoming racetracks. Probably just going to take them and make the racetracks playable in Arena Commander. The team supported the soft F feature, a refactor of the Game Rules Rounds module, began, which allows Star Marine's Last Stand mode to have multiple rounds. This refactor enables it in all game modes should the design team choose. Dual mode will be the first to utilize this and will allow players to begin a new round with a restock of ships after each kill. Work was also completed on the rework system used to ban or allow vehicles and weapons each game mode. This system provides greater customization for the developers, such as setting up a new mode that only allows a certain vehicle. This is used in Alpha 318 during the filtered dual mode, Squadron Battle, and Battle Royale to only allow small and medium combat ships. The first pass of the new death camera, which points to the player that killed you while you were moving and zooming dynamically, was submitted and enabled for all game modes too. Finally, work was submitted on an unannounced update to Classic Arena Commander mode, which will be further detailed in the coming months. That's a very interesting tease there. So let's go. You should go here to there, and then there to there. I've not seen this track yet. Feature character weapons. Throughout November, the team added support for tractor beams snapping boxes into cargo grids. This included a holographic preview to assist the moving loot into a ship. They also revisited the feature behind dragging an unconscious body into a medical bed. This was being made more generic so that bodies can be placed into other appropriate sized objects. As part of this, several improvements are being made to flow itself to make more robust and forgiving. Are we stuffing bodies in boxes now? Is that what's happening? The team also supported the upcoming patch release with improvements to the player respawn and reconnection flow. Additional time was spent ensuring all new UI features are working as expected. The team then investigated issues logs for a bug that caused the inventory UI to load indefinitely, with multiple fixes being added to the build. On the technical animation side, additional features were added to the inverse kinematics IK system to allow more of the mocap performance to come through. This will help when adjusting limbs via IK, doing actions such as pressing a button or manipulating weapon attachments. These kinds of IK-driven adjustments are required to avoid enforcing very strict metrics to environments, weapons, and gadgets. And this is part of the work to make sure that everything you do in the game is done by your character. So if you change like a scope on the gun, you actually take it off and put it like in your back or backpack or like on you or whatever. Or if you press a button in the console, you actually go to hit the button. Yes. Hello, Echo. How's it going? Man, I don't know why, but the chat between... Oh, that's not one. OBS and what is it? YouTube are different. And I don't know why. I'd really like to know. Let me just refresh this. What happens? Okay. So now it's all there. Let's hope it stays there. Hello, Echo. How's it going? Alright. Yes, we are done with that. Features gameplay. One of the exciting one. Towards the end of the year, featured gameplay worked on hull scraping for Alpha 3.18, including reacting to feedback threads on Spectrum and adjusting gameplay to match the goal of the first iteration of salvage. Additionally, filter stations functionality was expanded to allow players to create several useful items for hull scraping. The team also continued with the resource management, including life support and artificial gravity. This has included a redesign to the previous engineering UI last seen at CitizenCon to give a clearer, more modern design to support the vast amounts of functionalities that will be expected. Let's go and actually look at that then. Doop ba-doop. Doop ba-doop. Starcitizen. Starcitizen. Now it said last year's UI. Did it mean... This included redesign previous last seen at CitizenCon. Okay. So should be just back in the CitizenCon stuff. And my cat wants in. Give me a moment. Okay, cat has entered the room. Thank you. All right. Let's see. What's IE stuff? There we go, that's it. Alright, so... Power play. Would have been power play. There's that window, but that's a debug window. There's that window, but that's a venting window. I believe they're talking about this. I believe they're talking about this. Oh yeah, life support, gravity, doors. Okay. Talk about this. And just for thoroughity's sake, resource management, this is where we are currently. Supposedly, some of the work gets done in March, April, and EUPU continues to work to it until mid-June at the very least. At the very least. That's resource management. Life support tier 0 is being worked on again the same amount of time. Artificial gravity only out till June. And what was the other one? Doors, so that's fine. So that's all resource management stuff. Sweet. All right. Very cool. So it looks like they got some actual UI work done on it. Additionally, groundwork began for vehicle tractor beams. I can't believe we're still on groundwork for this stuff. The next step will be creating the tractor beam UI and expanding the feature to support its proper functionality. I imagine we'll begin that this year. The mining update continued, update continued with changes made to the Argo Mole and its Prospector to create bigger differences between individual and multiplayer aspects. The first rebalance pass was done for all mining heads, sub items, and gadgets to support the updated approach to resource distribution. This involved new variants in the minables to ensure they're distributed in a more controlled fashion throughout Stanton and support future crafting releases. Dang. Mission feature, Star Citizen. Mission feature spent the end of the year enacting improvements and bug fixing to missions for Alpha 3.18, including issues seen on YouTube, Twitch, Reddit, and Spectrum alongside issued council reports. Using feedback from Evocati and Wave 1 PTU, they also implemented analytic event into time trial missions and began analyzing the result to balance the mission target times. This data is also being used to determine the final unlock order for when mission progression is implemented. This analytics review and balance will continue until it is live. For security post-Korea, the team addressed an issue with a secret item not working correctly. They also changed the way the data pad on the security chief spawned and adjusted the turrets as they were respawning too quickly. The trespass timer length was also increased. The team are currently looking into an issue with mission not generating for Crusader missionary scope and continuing to investigate other known issues that have been raised. Feature vehicle Star Citizen. The vehicle feature team worked towards porting the transit system to Alpha 3.18's new precision tech system. Most of the core work was completed before the holidays, though. Some improvements continue to be implemented. Most recently, they allowed trains to slow down and wait for transit ahead of them on the track. This should fix the issue with trains overlapping. But it didn't stop them from just absolutely flying off the track. The team also implemented a new setup tool for vehicles, which allowed the designers to see how the automated thruster algorithms use each thruster on a ship. This is used to see how certain thrusters are being used to move in specific directions and make necessary changes to get ships to fly how they want. Vehicle feature Squadron 42. Last 2 months of the year saw vehicle feature largely complete a rework of full quantum travel, which is being integrated into Squadron 42 for testing. This continues from quantum boost feature mentioned in a previous report and significantly improves the overall feature implementation. They also supported the VFX team in integrating the new effects for quantum travel. They also worked on a recall feature available to various military ships in the game. Interesting. I assume that's autopilot to position. This uses AI pathing tech used in the PU and will allow various SQ42 levels to be completed. Various features then completed a significant refactor in the aiming system and are currently working with the UI to implement the new aiming reticle and pips to go alongside it. This will result in a huge improvement in aiming accuracy and reliability. It's currently being tested to improve the combat experience. Significant time towards the end of 22 went into the multifunction displays, MFD, heads-up display, UHD, and vehicle UI reworks. The base MFD system is making huge strides, and we've partially implemented most of the core MFD screens for ships using the new building block system. We're starting to build the new HUD, which just deeply integrates with the MFD system, with configuration options and MFD's casting options. Vehicle feature team. Control surfaces continued development, and in the last 2 months, the team improved scaling and transitions. For example, when a ship detects it's about to stall, it can automatically enable thrusters to stop it from falling. Similarly, when a ship has detected it's going fast enough to sustain control surface flight, it can automatically shut down its maneuvering thrusters and start flying solely with control surfaces. This has greatly improved the atmospheric flight section of the campaign. I think that's weird that the atmospheric flight section. As if there's only one. Yeah. Gameplay story. Gameplay story worked on a range of different tasks during November and December, including preparing and shooting mocap to update various scenes. Mocap from previous shoots was also used, for example, to help characters climb back into ships after speaking with Blair. A scene in Chapter 8 was updated to ensure the character could interact with a variety of props instead of just performing visual inspection. This team made sure the character used AI pose to allow them to break out of the scene if needed. The character also interacts with the Argo and PUV, meaning that they can fly into an Idris before starting their scene. Another area further explored was unholstering and holstering. This time, the team were able to make the character grab the multi-tool and data pad from the exact position it attached to the character and placed it back. Cool. Animations doing animation-y things. A number of updates were also made to characters in Chapter 4 and 8. This involved utilizing the latest female walk cycle and enabled the AI to seamlessly enter and exit scenes. A significant update was made to scene in Chapter 8 scene and Chapter 13 with the team adjustment animation to work with the final geometry of the level, making it so the character can speak to the player from better position. A major review of the scene that had been worked on throughout the year was done too. This led to an increased animation quality either by reusing the latest mocap or fixing what was already in place. Many new animations were created and polish passes were done on animations to further improve scenes alongside general maintenance and bug fixes. Graphics and VFX programming and Planet Tech, StarCitizen. The VFX programming team focused on finishing the damage map work for hull scraping. This mostly involved bug fixing and performance improvements alongside reworking the debug options for damage maps and documenting the various amendments made for the hull scraping project. Improvements were also made to visuals and networking, serialization, and damage maps in various edge cases found during the PTU testing. The Planet Tech team focused on polishing river tech and improving resource streaming performance with the new and more aggressive threading model that guarantees a stall-free experience. Additionally, maintenance was done to stabilize the Rastar tool. More recently, work began on the Asteroid SDF to introduce support for the new primitives. The team also progressed with hardware-assisted terrain instancing to improve the CPU submission time footprint. A new local space for terrain vertices representation was introduced, which will improve floating point precision and accuracy or inaccurate other internal operators. Finally, the team began looking at off-screen techniques to achieve a localized water simulation model for water object interaction. Graphics and VFX programming, Squadron 42. The VFX programming team began implementing new quantum travel and boost effects. These effects are now in a basic functional state that are triggered at generally the correct time. Work will continue to expose timing controls and implement the functionality for adapting these effects to any size ship. Work on the fire hydrant system is ramping up again, starting with the implementation requests for controlling fire and propagation for design purposes. On the visual side, the team are currently planning out the work required for reaching the visual goal set by VFX art. Level design, Squadron 42. The social team progressed well in the final months of 2022, including continued scene work on their assigned chapters. A new onboarding documentation was also created to better support new starters. This is an image called Outpost. Lighting StarCitizen. Throughout November and December, the lighting team completed day and night lighting passes for time trial racetracks. We also continued to improve all lighting aspects of the Colonial Outpost. This involved a lot of interior and exterior work to ensure that they fit in the environments and create the intended cold or cozy feeling within the buildings. After small changes were made to the Jumptown Dynamic event, a lighting pass was done on a few areas, bringing them back into the current standard and ensuring that new additions fit the existing theme. In-game branding, Montreal. The in-game branding team finished the year by completing several mandates. This included rebranding Security Post Korea into Korea Security Outpost and redesigning Area 18's navigational signage in support of the new player experience. Alongside the environment, narrative, and marketing teams, in-game branding developed and implemented the visual identity for last year's Drake-themed IE event, as well as working on directly on in-game locations and events. The team continued to develop a catalog with guidelines for each of the in-game brands. The goal of this upcoming initial tool is to make it easier for everyone, from production to marketing, to access information about Star Citizens in fiction companies and improve consistency across the project. They ended the year working on the visual identity for this year's Invictus launch week and continued the rework of Lorville. Cool. Man, that is some just industrial junk right there. Oof. I love the just identity of Rune Station. Too bad it's all outlaws. Anyway, location EU. Throughout November and December, EU Location 1 continued working on the rundown Pyro space station. With more designers now on the team, they made great progress on the layout of each room and are currently exploring interesting gameplay options across the location. EU Location 2 worked alongside the US-based PU team and added new cargo elevators into existing hangars, which will be used during the updated cargo gameplay. Pre-production... Okay, well, let's take a break there and look at freight elevators. Freight elevators... Okay, so freight elevators are done. Supposedly. Oh, no, okay, we're back here. We're back here. So, getting done. Not Argo, cargo. Cargo system repactor is assumingly done, and then that was done a while ago. Hull C is nearing complete. Should be complete before Invictus. Let's see if that's broken. Nope. Seems to be up to date. It's good. Alright. Yeah, 319 could come with some pretty interesting stuff. Pretty interesting stuff. Alright. Okay. Pre-production of the local law office began, which will be essential for several upcoming gameplay loops. They also worked on IAE and new player experience, the latter of which involved improving existing landing zones for new visitors. EU Sandbox 2 wrapped up the year with a further exploration and experimentation for underground facilities. They also finished the Sand Cave visual target, worked to set the benchmark for rock caves in the Persistent Universe, and began looking into improving and adding to Microtech's forest. Interesting. So what does that have to do with this? Is this underground facility stuff? It's just a hangar section. I don't understand what this is, except for like there's more props. And also these bars come down all the way to here and don't disappear into the floor. Oh, is this a new door? Is this a new module for the hangar? This is a cargo elevator. This is a cargo elevator. Aha. Aha, okay. That's cool. Okay, I can see it now. A mule would definitely fit in there. Scratch myself in the eye, that's fun. Mules are only slightly taller than people, so if he's here and not even at the door, that means he's gonna be like only like here. So yeah, a mule will definitely fit in there. Narrative. Towards the end of the year, the narrative team assisted with the new Security Post Career and Clash Rehabilitation mission content. They then coordinated with design on the new time trial racing missions. along with mission text, the narrative introduced WildStar Racing into Star Citizen's lore to create an organization responsible for arranging the races. Neat. Their backstory is that they began as a group of racing enthusiasts who would share vids of themselves racing on their favorite local racetracks. Since then, they have grown into a sanctioned racing organization specializing in rally tracks and are widely recognized as an affordable proving ground for amateur racers to work towards completing in higher profile leagues. The narrative team. That's really cool. That's really cool. Is it called XGR? For future patches, Narrative began planning new mining and salvage missions. Sweet. Which will help expand the career choices available through the contract manager. Work also continued on investigation missions with several new mysteries for players to solve being developed. Additionally, the team discussed sandbox mission content where players will encounter missions in the universe without accepting a specific contract beforehand, something I am very interested in seeing. The team also planned a reorganization of how in-game text is sorted. The internal tool developed to house all the game text strings is used by many different departments, and it has become clear that a new folder structure would help clarify where certain strings would be placed. Now that planning is complete, the hope is to roll out the reorganization in the upcoming year, so sometime this year. Time was also spent updating some of the detailed planetary conditions such as temperature and atmospheric content for our playing star system to more clearly align with the intended gameplay and solar position. Sweet. That's actually really cool. The end of the year also brought a variety of lore, including a portfolio on the history of the IAE, a clean shot with prediction about the expo, a lore maker's community questions, a Hazy Day short story, and a word from our sponsors posts featuring some Luminaria advert, and a section of the Galactopedia posts of the November and December. Finally, the narrative team also announced that in 2023 will bring changes to the website's lore release schedule, which for anyone who didn't see that, is the lore team will now not be making the serialized posts. So Haze Day, short story, word from our sponsors, and clean shot, possibly even the history of the IAE will not happen. Those kind of stories will not happen. Lore maker community questions probably will happen, I believe, and the Galactopedia will still be updated monthly. The reason for this change was to make sure that their focus is not on writing stories for the website, but actually working on the game that they're trying to produce. So hopefully over the next year we will have a lot more lore in the game, whether that be characters talking about it or more lore signage or whatever that happens to end up being when we get there. There's apparently enough for the lore team to actually focus on the game, not just Squadron 42 but also Star Citizen. Narrative Squadron 42, November and December were busy months for the narrative team. Firstly, they had a week-long performance capture shoot in the UK to close out capturing wildlands for one of the enemy factions, as well as narrative content scenes for a set piece. They also picked up content to support the new dynamic conversation system that will provide exciting opportunities for NPCs to chat with each other. This opens up a lot of opportunities for contextual conversations that will help maintain the illusion of a life and a storytelling outside of dedicated scripted scenes. That system is what I'm waiting for to get ported over to the Persistent Universe. Because after that happens, like, the world has depth. Just like in Skyrim, where NPCs complain about certain things, that's the exact same thing. NPCs will just have these random things that they talk about, and which can change over the course of a year. So if we're getting up to, let's say, Invictus, so let's say that next month or so 318 releases, and NPCs where you start to hear a couple of them like maybe talk about the Invictus is coming up, and they're super excited to see it. Or some people and then when the event happens, they'll talk about stuff that's happening at the Invictus launch week, or something about if they're more anti-government aligned, maybe talk about how they don't like the Navy being all around their home area, making traffic jams and so on and so forth. So I'm really excited to get this dynamic conversation system not only in Squadron 42 when that game released, but also coming into Star Citizen. Let's see. The team continued to hold reviews with the various design teams to develop updated scripts and provide placeholder recordings. This ensured lines are not only created the right dramatic beats, but also clearly indicate what the player is meant to do in order to progress. Nair also met with characters to ensure that all necessary costumes have been requested to support the various chapters that specific NPCs appear in. Based on the scope of the script, it shouldn't come as a surprise that there are a lot of characters that the player will meet over the course of the game. This list is complicated by the fact that some of the characters will have a schedule that will drive them from work to rest, necessitating a variety of clothings to be available. The narrative team. Interactable. The Interactable team continued their work on creating more advanced and unique assets, including stalls that can be found in the rundown station. I'll just call it ruin station. Prototyping continued work on deployables. These assets take a long time to figure out and overcome unforeseen challenges that are presented by other teams to ensure that they do not hinder gameplay. The Interactables team. In December, fixes were made from the current in-game coffee machine. Soon, players will be able to take selected cups to these machines and have infinite cups of coffee. It's the Interactables persistent universe. Progress was also made on new template for an asset that will be integral to bounty hunting, which is running alongside Environmental Arts Bounty Hunting Office. Finally, these teams started pre-production on lootable contents, including improving the current loot pool. Nice. I imagine this is handcuffs or restraints. Like integral about it's restraints. It's restraints. Or a no, it's gonna be restraints because that would be weapons team if it was a peaceful takedown device. Let's see. Yeah, we're almost there. Tech art and animation. At the end of 2023, Tech Art completed a dirty/wear pass for all cockpit glass to ensure the pilot's vision isn't obscured. A similar pass for turret glass is planned for a future update. Good. The MSR needs help. The graphic team delivered mesh triggering tech that will ensure, that will be used in Alpha 3.18 and beyond to fix various lighting issues on ship turrets, ramps, and doors. This enables the devs to tag a mesh that moves between zones to receive interior, exterior, or automatic transition lighting. This will help with most related problems. They also worked alongside the ship artists and engineers to enable shader damage for hull scraping on all vehicles in the game. In the ship pipeline, the team closed out the Drake Vulture while the Corsair Cutter received updated debris. SDF volume, landing systems, viz area/portal optimizations, new segments, segmented turret, viz area and turrets, and local grids and lifts for each ramp. The team also further development on the Mystical Seas interior walkway animation, which syncs with the exterior hull transformation animation. The final walkway will be a skinned asset with 10 sliding rings connected by stretchy tubing. Stretchy tubes. Tech animation spent the latter months focusing on head asset processing. We've been taking some long overdue actors and starting the internal processing procedure to create their likenesses. This included creating over 78 scans per head asset and processing them to the natural head asset. Some of these actors were scanned over 7 years ago, on the main chute for Squadron 42, so they look quite different these days. Tech animation team. That's cool. That's funny. I wonder who all they haven't scanned in yet. Let's see. Online services, Montreal, Star Citizen. The online service team spent the majority of November and December on 318 specialization or stabilization, performance improvements, and bug fixing. Time was also spent with DevOps, publishing team, production, tuning the new services, and new graph database used by PES. Significant effort was also spent tracking down edge cases for the character repair that will replace the character reset, with emphasis on finding possible exploits and potential failure points in the process. Tech Animation Squadron 42. Tech Animation spent the end of the year processing heads. Yeah, that is redundant. Okay. The team takes these complex scans and breaks them down into individual muscles and movements and apply them to the facial rig asset, ultimately including them in the gene pool to give more variety to the heads and faces seen in game. Interesting. Alright, now moving on to Live Tools Montreal. Live Tools Montreal. The Live Tools team focused on developing features related to PES, including the new login flow module implemented into the Network Operations Center. Now users can manage entitlements directly through Hex, which is a major step forward. Another tool related to PES is the Entity Graph tool, which was further developed and implemented. This module offers the ability to search and visualize the various entities attached to a player or an account and the associated details. Those new modules provide more versatility to Hex and contribute to making it a powerful tool for investigations into and issue solving. I can read. Hex is the last one. Turbulent's web platform at the end of 2022 saw Turbulent adding to the Alexandria tool library with a new module called Grid. The Grid tool gives content creator another way to present information and was first used in the Luminaria calendar. The team also progressed well with the SSV project, which provides the ability to adjust color palettes of any theme. This tremendously complex project saw the dev and design teams come together in the most creative ways. Turbulent web platform team. They also continue to add to the manufacturing library, this time adding Origin JumpWorks. I don't know what that means. Turbulent's experience team focused on reworking the initial new user flow from selecting a starter package to downloading and entering the game. December saw the team start developing after many months of design iteration and technical decision making. The community team continued to polish the community hub, CAT. With a majority of new features set to be released in early 2023, including better connection to large events and player-generated content. Finally, for Turbulent, the architecture team put numerous hours into the PHP 8 upgrade. After 6 months of making it hit the production environment, and was warmly welcomed by the wider development team. VFX Star Citizen. Throughout November and December, the VFX team worked through tasks for Alpha 318. This included putting the finishing touches on a new vehicle and lots of task pool and snag list fixes and tweaks. They also continued to support salvage effect, making adjustments after seeing some inconsistencies in background footage of Wave P2 Wave 1. VFX also began to plan for the overwhelming but necessary restructuring of the generic effect libraries. These libraries contain the most commonly used effects, including smoke and steam and smarks, and have become too bloated over the years. In the months ahead, the team will be reducing the number of individual effects, living in these libraries while making visual improvements as they go along. VFX Squadron 42. Throughout November and December, the VFX team progressed well with the particle library overhaul. This included creating custom levels showing all available effects, which is used for other VFX artists to quickly view the effect libraries. The artists also continue to support the art and design teams on key locations and cinematic area or cinematic scenes. Elsewhere, working alongside VFX programmers, the new quantum travel effects were made functional. Previously, they were in-engine prototypes. Having seen these effects properly working, there is still some tweaking to be done to be better match the prototype. And that is it. That is the both monthly reports. And we're only 5 minutes will be 4 hours in. All right, that's not what I wanted to do. Up there, where's my? There we go.